can you change something that's meaningless? Well, that's the question we're going to get into and a lot more this week as we fearlessly question altering perceptions with the first ever repeat guest on the show, Ginny Dietrich of Armick Dietrich and SpinSucks.com. And it's interesting because I brought this idea to her based on something I had seen from her when she was releasing her book, Spin Sucks. So the blog and the book are the same name, so obviously not to have any confusion. So if you read the blog, you're going to want to read the book. And one of the goals for the book was that she wanted it to be a New York Times bestseller. And it actually didn't end up making the list. And if you've listened to just about anything Seth Godin has put out, and I'm guessing most of you have listened to at least something he's put out, I mean, he pretty much poo-poos the New York Times bestseller list about every opportunity he gets. But yet we still point to these things, these benchmarks as being valid, and I really want to dive into that. And this is actually going to be kind of a reoccurring theme throughout the show in the next couple of weeks is after that, we will be fearlessly questioning proof with Andy Crestadonia and really getting into this kind of whole thing. I didn't plan this at all this way. Definitely did not want this to kind of happen by accident, but we're going to go with it. So what I want to really get into more on this is understanding why we, again, I feel like I feel like I repeat myself. I find myself saying the same things a lot, and it's weird because we have such a lot of different topics on the show, but yet there's this kind of same thing that runs through all of them. I don't know, maybe there's something to that. I don't know. But, it's really understanding, and I guess more importantly, how do we ultimately get somebody to not look at something that has been a traditional benchmark for a long time and say, listen, this doesn't mean what it used to mean. It's an interesting thought because I think that it's really hard. Or do we, or I guess, okay, let's put it this way. Or can we just let people that want to look to those benchmarks just continue to do so, and eventually they will find themselves obsolete, meaning they will just continue to be trying to validate something on something that has no validity anymore. I don't know. This is all kind of coming out really, really quick and really, these are not very fleshed out thoughts here, but I just wanted to hit record and get this going because I thought, listen, when we're talking about changing perception on something, I mean, that could be a subtitle for this whole show because we're trying to change the perception with a lot of different topics. We're trying to change the way, we approach certain things and to not always just be so accepting of what they are. And altering perceptions, I mean, it's great because what needs to be done, I guess. I don't know that there's a formula. I don't know anybody that's really done this. So, but I think it starts with people in positions like Ginny, who is, listen, this is something that I'm not going to care about deliberately. And I'm going to educate people why I don't care about it. And the people who I thought would care about this, I'm going to tell them why it doesn't matter to them. I think enough of those people in Ginny's position and beyond start to do those sorts of things, then I think that's when we will actually see real movement on it. Obviously, whether a book makes the New York Times bestsellers list is a pretty first world problem. And obviously we're going to want to move into something more, something deeper, something a little bit, but just on the whole, the idea of shifting that perception to saying, listen, don't look over here anymore. You need to be looking over here, because the idea is we talk about building these audiences and creating this content, and yet we want to kind of turn our back on it every chance we get. And the reason that I say that is because when you have your audience, it's built in. Everyone has their own version of, like, there's just a New York Times bestseller list for every audience now. So, like, I would not know or care if Ginny's book made the list. If I'm looking to read a book about PR, that's the book that I'm going to go get. And I think that is something that people don't necessarily, think about. So, like, a good friend of the show, Ryan Hanley, he is about to release his book, Content Warfare. If that book makes the New York Times bestseller list or not. Does it matter? No. I mean, it's going to be one of the books that I turn to. I reference to people, say, listen, if you want to learn how to do this thing, go read Content Warfare. It's these things that it's these audiences that you've worked so hard to build that, listen, it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously I get it if you want to play on the big stage and there's other people that I guess look at that list as, I guess some sort of like box office hit list. Then yeah, maybe. But even still, it takes somebody in these positions to where they have an opportunity to make the list to say, listen, this isn't what you should be paying attention to. I mean, the audience that, people that write these books have, I think, again, Seth Godin, said the number to make the New York Times bestseller list is pretty embarrassing as far as how low it is. And that's not to take anything away from, people that are on it or not on it. I mean, it's like, but, they probably have more people read their site every day than hit these lists. And I think, while it is something that somebody paid for, ultimately at the end of the day, it's somebody hearing what you have to say and taking action on it or being impacted on it enough to want to do business with you. And that's what it's all about. And I get a little tired of seeing people chase empty goals. And that's why we're going to have Ginny on the show, because if you remember anything from our previous episode, which I guess I should have said at the beginning of this thing, was it was the 4th ever episode. It was the launch week of the show. I was really questioning public relations, and obviously I had an opportunity to do it with an industry leader, so I could not pass up the opportunity to talk with Ginny about public relations, because I did have a couple fearless questions that I wanted to ask about the topic. Actually, we did want to have Ginny on to do a completely different show outside of this and her original show. Hopefully we get to do that at some point, but the powers that be have not allowed that to happen yet. So hopefully that will be coming, at some point in time down the future, because I'm really excited about that show that we have yet to be able to do. But since me and Ginny wanted to get back and fearlessly question some things, we came up with this topic, and I really, really like it. We'll see where it's going to go. But I've always, in my personal rant on this, just really quickly, I've never been one to do something just because somebody said it was good or it was popular or whatever. I always kind of bristled at that idea. I always just kind of turned my nose at it. I never liked it. Nothing ever kind of went. I don't know why, what my natural instinct is for that. But when but when I would see so many people chase that, and sometimes in embarrassing fashion, it just made me question why. What are they doing it for? I mean, it just didn't make sense. And, the more that we can kind of come full circle on that and really think about it and make sure that it's something that is actually of value, of going to actually get you to where you want to go, yeah, let's do it. But ultimately, it's just something, this idea has been something that I've just kind of always done. And it's probably something that I do too much, and it can probably be annoying if you're around me too much. I don't know. Maybe I have to ask my wife, but I'm not quite sure. But I want to ask you, though. So let's take this minute. Let's kind of put you in the seat. I mean, what empty metrics or what goals have you been chasing, maybe unnecessarily or blindly or without real, kind of validation to them? I mean, what are some of the things that you're trying to do that maybe aren't necessarily going to ultimately be that fulfilling? They're going to be kind of something nice to pin up on the wall, but beyond that, they don't really have much of an impact. And how do you think you can change that? How can you do it differently? Because I think that's the biggest thing I don't know that I have the answer to, and I'm going to be interested to hear what Ginny has to say. We probably will argue a little bit on it, because I think that's the one thing I've noticed in my time with Ginny is that we do. She likes to debate things, and it's a lot of fun. So if you want to let me know, obviously you can email me, joey@fearlesslyquestioning.com. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Of course, you can leave a comment wherever you're finding this. Let me know exactly what it is that you kind of chase. That is, what is your New York Times bestseller kind of list? What is that thing that you're chasing right now? And how are you going to stop chasing it, and how are you going to convince people that you should and they should also stop chasing it? I think that'd be interesting. Let's hear that. Let's do that. So let's send some emails on that, and then also, comments, whatever. Let's go ahead and have that conversation a little bit more, because I would be interested to hear what you have to say on the matter. But we will be back with Ginny this Thursday. We're going to be a little earlier than usual, than our earlier scheduled time. We're going to be at 10 o'clock Eastern on Thursday, February 12th. And it's going to be a very special joint birthday celebration. Ginny and I also share a birthday, which will be, by the time you hear this, or by the time the show airs, it'll be 2 days after our actual birthday. So we're going to have a fun little joint birthday celebration as well. So come join us, celebrate, and really talk about fearlessly questioning altering perceptions. So I will catch you guys there. Take it easy, everybody.